It seems as though when I released the last video that I had done about the psychic um, in the God Squad and Bernadette whatnot, having lots of chatter, there was a lot of fascination with how this comes through the physical body or the physical presence or vessel of Kelly. And I get that. And I think the reason I get that is I had 38 years without this. And in those 38 years without this, I too remember being fascinated when I would see psychics or mediums or intuitives or channelers kind of tell how it all came through for them, because I think it's a very unique process really that happens. And it's why I never point to someone else's experience and call it right or wrong, because I think just like everything else in this dualicious game space or dreamscape, we really do have the ability to have some experience of what seems to align to our understanding of what that would feel like or look like for us. To me, it's less about preferences and more, again, about those variables we've been pointing to and speaking about that we humans like to call free will. And in effect, the toggles are all dangling in front of us, if you will. Just imagine all these dongles and tongles and whipples and things that you can grab a hold of and pull and seem to manipulate the dreamscape. And that very much is what a variable appears to be. So for this physical vessel, the story of Kelly, what seems to be happening is all the senses are awakened. So rather than say I'm a clairvoyant or a clairsentient or any of the clairs, it's easier just to say psychic. It's easier just to say medium. It's easier just to say channel. But all of those are what are arising up and through this. And none of them are the label that we give to them. It's our way of being able to speak in this dreamscape to one another and have some point of reference. But I really enjoy less and less putting labels on anything, because it creates a box within what that now labeled thing has to sit inside of, right? So if you call it psychic, all of a sudden there's a box and there's bullet points of what psychic means to you. When here, as it's arising without that label, it just keeps expanding. There's no borders around the energy of it because it's not mine. And I know that's really a challenge to wrap your head around, but here in the story of Kelly, there is always, just like in the story of you, thoughts that are arising, and there's no doer of those thoughts. It's a movement of energy, a vibration of energy, and so is this thing we call psychicness, the tapping into what appears to be here for one and may not for another is merely just a removal of a veil of what's always been here. And as the story of Kelly's aspects or egoic attachments and resistances seem to fall away and let go, this just keeps expanding and getting broader and more beautiful. For many years it seemed to be this grappling of trying to understand how to drive this, and the need to understand it was in fact the block of the subtle realization that, the new owner's manual that you're looking for is right at your feet, but you're so busy out there, you've stopped to connect right here where you'll get the full download. So there's definitely been a stubborn nature of this avatar, and it makes me love her more and more every day, because I no longer resist that part of her stubbornness. So it doesn't come through as abrasive energetically now. All is allowed here, right? So when the stubborn activity is happening and the one that's witnessing all of this is aware, and the psychic piece that is dropping information in, causing what appears to be an inspired action, all seem to be playing out in unison, there's got to be some recognition that I can't be all of those characters at once. Thank goodness. It's exhausting to think about how I could chase down the proverbial rabbit hole for each one of those, and how quickly it balloons into such storification. And that went on for years after 2008. I've shared vocally in many videos that there appeared to be a part of the story of Kelly that was chasing that dragon, trying to recreate that full intensity of that near-death experience. And in the wrestling to go find it, what was always right here was the ability to just view it. Just quiet down for a minute, little missy, and we'll let you view it. And that's the conversation that happens all day here. This one that is connected to all of it is reminding this other one that seems to be disconnected from all of it to just breathe and not resist. And the rest is already determined. It's all weaving itself together in the fabric of life. And this morning, as I was hearing this come through, this what's now coming through, a preview, if you will, with the God Squad, Bernadette made a really funny comparison, and so I told her I would include it in this because I love it. I love analogies. You guys know that. I use them all the time because it makes things stick more than just words. She said, you, the human you, is like an egg without salt. There's nothing wrong with an egg without salt, right? Pop it in your mouth, delicious. Yet, a little bit of sea salt on it. Now, slice it open and notice the yolk that was always there. You are the vehicle, the white part of the egg. The yolk is this vastness that we cannot name, for it becomes separate as soon as we do. One cannot experience without the other, apparently. Yet, which came first? We've never had the answer to that, right? So maybe the answer is neither and both simultaneously. What is arising that's psychic? What is arising that taps into those on the other side? What is arising that intuitively knows what it knows, intuitively smells, hears, tastes, touches, just like you're here? It's that real to me physically. I smell it, I taste it, I feel it. It all is here. The richness of it all is here. Just like the richness of this experience appears to be here. And yet all of it is part of the dreamscape. All of it is part of the dreamscape. So why wouldn't we celebrate every single little piece of it, knowing none of it matters, and yet all of it matters? It's fascinating. Everything which is also the undoing of everything which it is not. It writes and erases itself. It writes and erases itself. It just does what it does until it doesn't. So in the whimsy of all of this, Kelly out of the way now, all the sensations and vibrations are clearer than they've ever been. And it appears to have been the need for some of those human-esque characteristics or aspects that were still very much paramounting the lead in this play. The mother of a single child, the corporate worker, the suburban living woman who created this harmony and community and collaboration for her son to experience that which she never had, which was consistency and foundation. All of that in an instant. College, off he went. Need for a big house and suburban living, off that went. Need to be in suburbia to survive and thrive was never needed. Escape to the tiny home in nature and away from people's peopling and the ability to just be with every celebration of the moment, be with that fully. Fully. When one sits to be in silence, there's no phone. There's no thoughts. There's no creeping out to wonder and escape and understand. There's just breathe and don't resist. The rest is being taken care of. And as the aspects of Kelly, the ones that have all the arguments with what's coming up and what's coming through and what seems to be coming towards, when all of that lets go, there's just an openness for all of this to come through. Just as Milo is to me that right now, Bernadette also is to me right now. My birth guide. Do I see her physically? When I apparently need to or want to or she desires for me to, but no, not anymore. Initially, yes. Especially in the hospital. There needed to be some layer of trust established that I wasn't insane, that I hadn't damaged my brain, and that I was seeing what I was seeing and feeling what I was feeling and experiencing what I was experiencing, even though everyone apparently was not having the same. The last 14 years have truly redefined how I experience life, and I would never want to undo it, but I also don't ever want to give the impression that this has been the smoothest, easiest, rainbow-filled road. How lucky she is, how easy her life has been. I see those types of comments on the near-death videos out there, and I say, did they even watch my channel? Do they even know the story? Or do they just take what they need that is their story about me and run with it? And that's of course what we do until we don't. Okay. Anything you want to add? What's it like having a mama who's a psychic? What do you think? Well, she knows when I'm hungry. She gets when I need to poop. She knows when I need a little extra loving. She's sensitive to my needs. What else? That was all sweet. She lets me star in her videos. I hope that helps, guys. You know, I know it's interesting to try and wrap your head around what this looks and feels like physically. All I can say is, for me, it's as real and as natural as having a conversation with anyone else. But I don't walk around and just read people. I don't walk around and just offer readings. I live a very, very egg without salt life. So subtle, so simple, nothing to step over. I am the egg white containing the yolk. We need each other. And that's the way of it. That's the way of it. Right, Milo? Until next time, much love from us. Mommy's gonna put her glasses on today and then find the button. Oh, thank you. Thank you. We say thank you and we love you. Yeah.
Hey, thought you might enjoy hanging out in my tree with me today. What do you think? She's my favorite stump.